Hello friends, welcome back to Women in the Word Wednesday. My name is Tara for those of you that are new, and for those of you that are returning, I do thank you guys so much for being here with me. We are going to dive in, you guys. For those of you that are new, what we're doing over here is studying some phenomenal women in the Bible. This here is my Women's HCSB Study Bible that I use to reference some of these women as well. This is the journal that I have chosen. I put these stickers on here myself and it says Women in the Word. And then we are following and getting our information from this book here from the Daily Grace Co. It is Women of the Bible. So we're going to get started, you guys. I pray that everyone is doing well. I'm doing good. No complaints. I did work late today, you guys. So I do apologize that this video is getting out to you guys a little bit later. But you guys, don't hold that against me. We're here. I thank God for that. I thank God for you guys. And we're just going to get started learning about these phenomenal women. I'm going to move my study Bible for a moment. And then we are going to recap our woman that we studied last week, which was Phoebe. And what I have written about Phoebe says, the story of Phoebe teaches us that women had and still have significant roles in the church. She served and ministered to others in ways that stood out to Paul so much that he called her a benefactor to many, including himself, which means a helper or patron. She was definitely set apart. I imagine Phoebe was someone who also encouraged women by the way she lived her life publicly. She proved to be a faithful follower of Christ, and she led by example. I love the story of Phoebe, you guys. That was awesome. And what I have promised you guys is that I would share one of your comments as well. And I do have a comment today here from @fit_Kitty. And her name is Kitty. And her comment says, "Thank you, Tara. This was an excellent study of Phoebe. I enjoyed these Bible studies very much. You might be interested in knowing that the name Phoebe is Greek in origin and means bright, radiant, pure. So Phoebe certainly lived up to her name." Yes, she absolutely did. Thank you so much, Miss Kitty, for your comment. I do appreciate that. And you guys, we are studying today Rebekah. And you guys saw in the clip before we got started, this is how I decorated in my journal today. I wanted to just put a little bit of florals down and have our spot here for the notable quotable as we normally do, but I didn't go overboard with florals. You guys, sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. So this is what we have today for Rebekah. And I'm just going to mark our page here, and we will start off by reading what the Daily Grace Co. has for Rebekah. And as I'm looking around, I do not have my readers. So you guys give me one moment because we're going to do a lot of reading today. All right, let's get these on. Let me clean them first because I need to be able to see clearly. All righty. Oh, that's so much better. So here's Rebekah, and she is located in Scripture, Genesis 24 and 25:19 through 34 and 27:1 through 17. The date of her story is 2006 BC. Locations lived is Aram, Naharaim, Canaan. So for Rebekah, it says, Rebekah's story is one of complexity. She is devoted yet deceptive. She is self-sacrificing yet sneaky. However, it is through Rebekah's deception that God creates the 12 tribes of Israel. Rebekah's life teaches us that God uses all details, good or bad, to bring about his divine purposes. When we first meet Rebekah in Genesis 24, she is an answer to prayer. Abraham commissioned a servant to venture to his homeland to secure a wife for his son Isaac from his relatives. Abraham's faithful servant made the journey, praying that God would lead him to the right woman. And he did. Rebekah was not only generous, gentle, and beautiful, she was also a member of Abraham's clan. Once again, God proved faithful to Abraham. After Abraham's servant found Rebekah, her family desired to have her delay her travels to meet Isaac. However, Rebekah trusted in God's timing and agreed to leave immediately to go to her future husband. They married, and after 20 years of infertility, Isaac and Rebekah were blessed with twin boys, Jacob and Esau, which is in Genesis 25:20-26. Even in the womb, however, Jacob and Esau wrestled with one another, foreshadowing later events in their lives. Before the boys were born, God told Rebekah that his blessing would defy ancient Near Eastern tradition, as the youngest son, Jacob, would rule over the oldest son, Esau. This prophecy began to find fulfillment in Genesis 25:27-34, when Esau foolishly traded his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of stew. Even so, Isaac favored Esau and desired to bestow his blessing upon his true firstborn. However, Rebekah favored Jacob and took it upon herself to make sure Jacob would hold Esau's birthright and blessing. That's in Genesis 25:28. In Genesis 27:1-17, we read how Rebekah took advantage of Isaac's blindness in his old age and instructed Jacob to impersonate his brother. And Rebekah's scheme worked. Isaac blessed Jacob, fulfilling what God had told Rebekah and setting the stage for future conflict between Jacob and Esau's descendants. Jacob would later be renamed Israel, and his sons would go on to become the fathers of the 12 tribes of Israel. Esau's descendants would go on to become the Edomites, and they would continually war against the Israelites, God's chosen people. Through Rebekah's story, we learn that God uses messy, imperfect people to bring about the redemption of his people. Hundreds of years later, a Messiah named Jesus would burst forth. This Savior's lineage traces back to Jacob, the son Rebekah favored, which is in Matthew 1-2. Though deception and trickery are by no means God-honoring, God redeemed Rebekah's story by allowing her actions to create a lineage of people through which he would forgive the sins of the world. Though imperfect, this lineage, the nation of Israel, would be an example of God's love for his creation. And then our notable quotable here says, through Rebekah's story, we learn that God uses messy, imperfect people to bring about the redemption of his people. All right, that was very, very interesting. Very interesting. So I am going to get our, it's already out, you guys. Okay, I must have used it for something else. But this is the yellow twistable crayon that I use to just highlight some key facts. Okay, first of all, it says that Rebekah was an answer to a prayer. We can note that she was commissioned by Abraham to become a wife for his son Isaac. Rebekah was not only generous, gentle, and beautiful, she was also a member of Abraham's clan. We can note that after 20 years of infertility, Isaac and Rebekah were blessed with twin boys, Jacob and Esau. We can also note that in the womb, they wrestled with one another. God told Rebekah that Jacob would rule over the oldest son. Jacob was the youngest son, and he would rule over the oldest son. So we can also note that Isaac favored Esau and desired to bestow the blessing upon him, his firstborn. But Rebekah favored Jacob. And Rebekah had Jacob impersonate his brother Esau. Okay. I think that's enough from this book, and we will go to the study Bible and see what it says. Let's just mark this page. We can leave it open and just put it there. Okay. So, of course, I do have my beautiful bookmark from one of my subscribers to mark our spot here. And what it says here is they title Rebekah as a chosen wife. It says her background, her family lived in Haran and was part of Abraham's extended family there. She was chosen by God to be Isaac's wife. She was the mother of twin sons, Esau and Jacob, who were the progenitors of two nations. She became pregnant with twins after years of infertility. She favored Jacob, the younger son, over Esau, who was favored by Isaac. She deceived her blind husband into giving Jacob the covenant blessing due the firstborn, stealing it from Esau. And life lessons from Rebekah says parental favoritism brings heartache, resentment, and estrangement. Trusting God for your child's future will never involve manipulation or deceit. That is very well put. I like these facts here, you guys. And it said the same thing, but it summed it up even better for us to put there in the journal. Let's read a little bit of the passages. Okay, you guys, 27 is really long, so I'm not going to read it, but I will link these scriptures below so you guys can go back and read if you so choose. But let's just start putting some of these facts in the journal. We're going to do a little bit from both, but I think we're safe to go ahead and use these here because it just sums it up a little better. So I'm going to try to make some room, you guys. You know, it gets a little difficult around this time, but I'll put this here for now. I do have my clean dot color marker that we're going to make some bullet points with. I feel like I am all over the place, you guys. So first of all, we are going to write here that Rebekah was a chosen wife. So let's just make note of that here. Okay. And let's just grab this Crayola Super Tip and we'll just do that like that. Let's start making some bullet points, you guys. Okay. So, let's see. So we can first note that Rebekah was the answer to Abraham's prayer. Okay. For a wife for Isaac. Okay. We can also put here she was chosen by God in parentheses. Okay. And we can say that after 20 years of infertility, she gave birth to twin boys, Jacob and Esau. Okay. Okay. And we can just add what it says here in the study Bible. She favored Jacob, the younger son, over Esau, who was favored by Isaac. We'll just put younger. And Isaac favored Esau. And we put older in parentheses for him. We can definitely write, she deceived her blind husband into giving Jacob the covenant blessing due the firstborn, stealing it from Esau. Okay. Into giving Jacob the covenant blessing I'm just going to write due to Esau. Okay. We can definitely write that she instructed Jacob to impersonate his brother Esau. Just add to that last note or that last point and say, by instructing Jacob to impersonate Esau. Okay, definitely want to put what they have here. She is devoted yet deceptive. She is self-sacrificing yet sneaky. Okay. Maybe I can make that was. Let's see if I can find some white out. Because that doesn't look like was. Okay. She was devoted, yet deceptive. And she was self-sacrificing, yet sneaky. Okay. And for our notable quotable, we'll go ahead and write that here. It says, through Rebekah's story, I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera, you guys. We learn that God uses messy, imperfect people to bring about the redemption of his people. Okay. All right, you guys. So let's put this back, straighten up a little bit. Let's do a little recap. What we have here for Rebekah says she was titled a chosen wife. The answer to Abraham's prayer for a wife to Isaac, chosen by God. After 20 years of infertility, she gave birth to twin boys, Jacob and Esau. She favored Jacob, who was younger, and Isaac favored Esau, who was older. We did not put in here that she was married to Isaac. Yeah, I think that needs to be in here, you guys, somewhere. We can just go ahead and let's just add it here because that's the only place we have room. She was married to Isaac. Well, okay, I guess we didn't have to put that. Okay, you guys, I'm all over the place. Let's start over. It says, she was the answer to Abraham's prayer for a wife to Isaac, which means she was married to Isaac. After 20 years of infertility, she gave birth to twin boys, Jacob and Esau. She favored Jacob, who was the younger child, and Isaac favored Esau, who was the older. She deceived her blind husband into giving Jacob the covenant blessing due to Esau by instructing Jacob to impersonate Esau. She was devoted yet deceptive. She was self-sacrificing yet sneaky. And we won't read that again. Our notable quotable says, through Rebekah's story, we learn that God uses messy, imperfect people to bring about the redemption of his people. Wow. So you guys know I will write my thoughts and what I learned from Rebekah here. And we are going to now pull our name for the woman we're going to study next week. And again, I don't know why I shake them up because they don't get moved around in here. So let's hope, you guys, that the one we pull is going to be on the bingo board. Let's see. Okay, I have one. Let's move that for now. JL. Is that pronounced JL, you guys? Okay, let's find her in here. Let's find her. It is JL. Yeah, I said that right. She is on page 64. And I don't think I've ever heard her mention, you guys, in any sermons or anything. So I'm curious. This is our image of JL that we'll use next week. And let's go ahead and put her in the journal. Let's first see if she's on the bingo board, you guys. Not up top, not here. Nope. Nope. No. Okay, she's not. But we crossed off Phoebe. And who did we, is Rebekah on here? Rebekah, I can't remember, you guys. Let me go over it again. No, Rebekah is not on our bingo board either. And neither is JL, but that's okay. That is okay. We're going to keep going. If you guys see either of these women, I'm sure you'll let me know. I've missed them before, but we will just stick her here. And we can cross her off of the list or highlight her in the list. Let's see. Where was she? Phoebe. No, we crossed off Phoebe, didn't we? We did cross off Phoebe. We need to cross off Rebekah. Okay, where is she? Right here. All right. I think that is it, you guys. And next week we will shade in JL. She is unfortunately not on our bingo board. I don't see her. That's okay. That is okay. We're going to keep going, you guys. I do thank you guys so much for being here with me. Let me know below your thoughts on Rebekah, and of course I will choose one of your comments to share next week. If you guys are new and you enjoy Women in the Word Wednesday, you guys have checked me out a few times, you've seen Faith Filled Friday and some other things that I've done, now is your personal invitation to go ahead and click that subscribe button, give your girl a thumbs up if you love it all, and share this video, you guys, if you think there's someone else that would love to learn about these phenomenal women in the Word. I do pray that you all will have a blessed night, blessed morning, blessed afternoon, whenever you're seeing this. Be blessed, you guys. Thank you guys so much again for being here with me. Remember to keep praying, keep planning, and make it pretty.